With your connection to agriculture, I'm Joanna Guza. Dr. Kurt Vogel with UW River Falls was on the PDPW Dairy Signal talking about animal handling. One item he addresses is how animals can identify different handlers.
Cattle can also tell the difference between handlers. So this is a case where just because one person engages in threatening behavior that makes the cattle uncomfortable, that doesn't mean that all people are necessarily going to cause that if there are plenty of other gentle handlers. They identify people the same way that we identify people. They use all the different attributes that you can pick up on. The sound of the voice, the difference in faces, in clothing, in stature, in their height. All of that stuff plays into it. One of my favorite studies that demonstrated this in cattle early on was a study where the researchers wanted to see if there was a difference, or if cattle could tell the difference between people. So the way they did it is, again, they set up with an aversive handler, someone who was kind of rough and aggressive, and someone who was gentle. They set up these windows, and they had feed pans on the other side of the windows, and then they had the handlers stand on the other side of the window. The cattle could see them, and they would consistently go to the feed pans to eat where the gentle handler was located, not the aggressive handler. That doesn't explain everything. And so they started to take away these different attributes that the animals might recognize. And so the first thing they did, these were two very different looking people, is they had the shorter person stand on a stool so they're the same height. And that didn't change anything. And so then they had them wear the same color overalls, and that didn't change anything. And then they had them put on Albert Einstein masks. And at that point, the animals could no longer tell the difference between the two handlers, and they would go to the feed pans at the same rate. So what that showed us is that they were using all these visual cues through the window to pick up on the difference between people, but they would change their behavior according to what people they felt most comfortable being around.
That was insight from Dr. Kurt Vogel with UW River Falls on the PDPW Dairy Signal. And that's your connection to agriculture. I'm Joanna Guza.